Hello and welcome back to another match reaction. West Ham United 0, Fulham 2. I don't know why I predicted 1-1 on my TikTok. I've just got back home from the game. I'm currently got the Arsenal game recorded, so I am 1 minute in right now. On the TV, I've just seen Liverpool lost to Palace at home, which just gives Arsenal another advantage, which, yeah, great. This day can't get any worse. And they face Palace, by the way. Palace won at Anfield. Thought it was impossible to win at Anfield, but Atalanta and Palace can do it. And guess who we've got next? Crystal Palace. Luckily, I'm working on that day, so I probably won't see much of the game. But let's get into this game. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. And we're trying to hit 200. We're literally this close to 250 subscribers. We're trying to hit 500 before the end of the year, so please subscribe. Let's just get straight into it. Starting with the team selection, I don't really have many problems. Obviously, Paquetá on the left is not ideal. We know that he has a fetish for not picking Maxwell Cornet. I had no problem with Danny Ings starting. Was slightly surprised that Johnson didn't start just because I thought he'd give Soufa a rest. Johnson hasn't played that many games, so I'm sure he could have done 2 games. We all know he's going to start on a wing, even though we need 3 goals against Leverkusen. We know that Ben Johnson will start on the wing. Left back as well. Emerson was obviously going to play. He can't play on Thursday. Neither could Paquetá. The midfield, Souček got a bit of a rest. I'm surprised maybe Antonio wasn't saved. But at this point, who cares? We're not playing for anything now. I think European competition has gone. I know we're still in it, but it's a bit like how Liverpool are still in the title race, even though they're probably out of it now. Like, mathematically, they're still in it, but they're probably not in the title race now. The same way Man United are in mathematically in the top 4 race, and people keep trying to force that because of the whole mathematical situation. But realistically, he's not. They're not in the top 4 race either. Whenever we need to close in the gap, we could have gone above Man United today. We don't do it, and that's why we're not going to finish in Europe. That's why we're going to finish probably 9th. The reason why we are 7th and 8th for so long is because everyone in this league, apart from City, Arsenal, and Liverpool, are shit. And Aston Villa are not shit. But, like, standards are different at different clubs. Like Brighton aren't shit for Brighton. And all that. Newcastle aren't shit for Newcastle. We're not shit for West Ham. But we are shit. And everyone, I always blame everyone. I always blame when we lose players and manager. To be honest with you, if everyone is playing bad, then there's only one man to look at. And I'm getting tired of it. If you're still back in this, then I don't know what you're watching. I feel like you're just going off what a man has achieved rather than what we are watching. And that's what most people do with David Moyes nowadays. I get it if you've got certain allegiances, but this is what happens when no accountability is there, you know? I just saw a banner from Rennes in France about Europe is an obligation, not an option, something like that, in their banner that they had, Rennes. If we did that in England, we'd be called probably negative, toxic, probably also ungrateful. Be careful what you wish for is the phrase of the season, isn't it? Even pricks like Tony Bellew are talking about be careful what you wish for after we lost to Nottingham Forest, who has no allegiance to David Moyes apart from the fact that he's an Everton fan. You can have him back if you want. You can have him back if you want, especially if you're going to the Championship. I'm sure you'll be fine there. But I don't want him at this club anymore. I've been saying it from 2022 Christmas. I let him off for the rest of the season because we had a Conference League to focus on. But now, that Conference League was nearly a year ago. He could have left on a high. Could have let him go on a high. Any ambitious club would have done that. I don't think this owner has the balls to sack a manager, but he knows that he doesn't have to give him a new contract. And luckily, he will probably leave at the end of the season. And as much as I've actually been like, as much as I've ranted for so long this season, I have maintained respect of the legendary status that I think David Moyes has for winning us a trophy. But the longer this goes on, the longer I'm just starting to lose patience. I was already David Moyes out for a long time, but it's just like this is just the worse it gets. It's just my anger is now more with the people that are backing him more than him, because he has no real allegiance to his club, so I can understand why he would stay. It's now the people in charge to let him leave and the people that are supporting him to stop. Like, they don't decide whether he goes or not, but you're not putting the pressure on. Like, I think genuinely our match day fans were so tired of seeing this week in, week out that they didn't even want to really boo at half time, and that first half was awful. That was an awful first half. That was, I would say, one of the worst of the season, but we've seen it before. We've seen it many times before. I'm kind of just relieved that the season is going to end. I don't really want to go Thursday, but I'm going to go because in case of a miracle, I know it's not going to happen, especially without certain players. But even with certain players, I'm going to talk about their performances today, and I do think the manager obviously is the main guy to blame, but I'm about accountability, and I'll always keep the same energy for everyone. I will give everyone a clean slate for whoever stays under a new manager to see if a new manager could get the best out of some of these players. I will have my doubts and opinions on them, but I will give everyone a new slate, a clean slate. But here's what I want to say. Now, this week, Fabrizio Romano put out the fact that there's a release clause about Lucas Paquetá, 85 million, obviously kicking in. I think everyone knew that, and I think Man City are going to get him, and they're very likely to go and purchase him. And I tweeted that it's a very shame and a big waste that he's going to be, that we've only seen him for 2 years and it was under David Moyes. Even Dimitri Payet, for the year and a half that he was here, was allowed freedom in his first season, in glimpses of the second season under Slaven Bilic, because Slaven Bilic knew who his best player was, gave him freedom. Yes, was an awful manager, in my opinion, outside of Payet. A very great character, for sure. Probably my favourite person to manage this club in terms of just him as a person. But Moyes doesn't seem to give the attack freedom, obviously. Paquetá's playing on the left, on the touchline all the time, and even when he's cutting in. Today, he was awful. It's the worst Paquetá performance I've seen today, but there is no... I said this... after at halftime of the Wolves game, there's no idea on the ball. There's no intent. I'm complaining about the same stuff, and I'm really getting tired of it. Ward-Prowse and Alvarez was the midfield, and I want Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Paquetá midfield, mainly in a 4-3-3, with Ward-Prowse and Paquetá just going slightly ahead of Alvarez. But Ward-Prowse was awful. His awareness was awful today off the ball, and his passing was awful. There is a better player there. I've seen it at Southampton under technically worse teams, worse managers. So that's why I'm not calling him shit and stuff like that. The free kick merchant. Alvarez, who is a player I love, but he was awful today. Even though we crumble without Alvarez, we're not exactly a fantastic team with fully fit players. Even though Don Hutchison maintained the fact that the reason why we're in such a rough form was because of Paquetá. Paquetá started, and we're still shit. So I wonder what the problem is. But obviously, Don Hutchison is a guy who literally done a podcast with the club, so he's never going to say anything bad about the club. He's obviously just going to go for the fans instead. Tony Cottee went on TalkSport and obviously defended him. Tony Cottee seems to be a guy who would just say anything for money, as much as he's well respected as a club legend, and rightly so, because I respect him. I don't really respect your opinion though. Same with Joe Cole. Same with Colton Cole. I know Colton Cole works for the club. So he's never going to say anything. He's literally an under 18s coach. But Joe Cole doesn't work for the club. He's on TNT Sport chatting nonsense every week. Anton Ferdinand, obviously he works for the club. I get it. Rio Ferdinand going at West Ham fans away at Sheffield United. Simon Jordan being an arsehole, as always, because he's literally David Sullivan's mate. I will celebrate when David Sullivan leaves this club, and I will celebrate when Simon Jordan stops doing media. Same with him, same with Jim White. Jim White hasn't said anything about West Ham in years, but I still don't like him. Going back to the game, Soufal and Emerson were average. Gerd was awful. Again, I get the whole under a new manager, high line, all that, but even when he was caught high up the pitch, he was awful. Like, just physically as well, just as an actual defender in himself, he's not that good. Like, it's like, if Tilo Kehrer and Flynn Downs was to come back under a new manager, I'd give them I'd give them clean slate as well, because Kehrer was an alright right back. He had his moments where he was shit, and he didn't suit what we were doing because he was mainly bought for possession-based football. He's even said that himself, and Flynn Downs never really got a chance. I think either there was people just constantly defending him because he was a West Ham fan, because he's a West Ham fan, or there's people constantly going at him like, just because he's a West Ham fan doesn't mean he played well. Listen, I get it. I get that, but I don't think he got enough of a chance to do that. But even with Fornals and Benrahma here, that the same stuff would happen here. And I believe no matter what lineup this manager puts together, the same thing would have happened. But that's because it's his fault. That's because he doesn't coach on the ball. That's why we gotta look clueless on the ball. Alvarez is a player that's good on the ball, but we'll never get to show it in a team that's not good on the ball. Same with the likes of Paquetá. That's why I've been saying to people that question why I'm always out. It's because we win in moments, and I just get tired. I just get really, really tired of it. I get really tired of saying the same thing, watching the same thing week in, week out. And when I think watching, it's not because of style of play, it's because we don't have a style of play. It's not because I want a particular style of play. I have to put that out there. I'm not a guy who really gives a shit whether we need to play possession football or not. But my problem is that there is no idea. It's like, we're not a counter-attacking team anymore because Kudus actually wants to slow down the ball and keep it. Even though he's good on the counter, people are genuinely saying that he's better on the counter than he is in possession-based football. So I wonder how well we did at Ajax then. Did Ajax literally a possession-based team? Ghana are a possession-based, if you watch them in AFCON. For all the people that were like after the Leverkusen game, that I don't get the negativity. And you know who they are if you're on Twitter. Well, I hope you're watching. Do you know what it is? I have nothing wrong with people that get paid by the club and they have certain allegiances. I generally don't have really care that much. But it's when certain people that I've seen videos of them doing stuff with the club, and they're going at other West Ham fans. They're saying on Twitter after the Leverkusen game, what's with all the negativity? I don't get it. And there's other people after that were still trying to say we're still in the tie. Well, yeah, mathematically, technically you're never not in a tie. But we're out. We won't do anything against Leverkusen. And I never thought we would. But a lot of people thought we'd do them just because of false positivity. And I get trying to back the club, all of that stuff. But if you keep doing that rather than any logical explanation, then these are the kinds of results you're going to get, and you're going to keep getting let down by these kind of results. That's why I try, like, instead of feeling, I try and go off logical explanation of what I watch. And I don't, then that's going to sound patronizing. Like, I'm not a smart person. I just go off what I see. And what I'm seeing is not good. What I'm seeing is not good at all. Fulham didn't really have to do much, but they were blatantly the better team, even though we had a lot of probably more of the ball, we just passed it sideways. It's the same pattern usually when it comes to us. A lot of the possession that we have is, all right, centre backs passing sideways, no one's coming to receive the ball in the middle because they're not distracted to, and then we pass the ball to one of the fullbacks. Then they pass to the wingers on the touchline. Then they lose the ball. We lose the ball and we get counted on. It was Mavropanos' fault probably for the first goal, from what I saw. But then again, I don't know what else he was meant to do. He wasn't good, but he also looked like he was playing with an injury today. People will know I'm not the biggest fan of Mavropanos, but I'll give him a chance. I've been trying my best. And with Pakistan, it was his fault for the second, and it was just giving away the ball in the middle of it. And it was the same pattern with Pakistan today, where there's just ball over the top constantly, and nothing was happening. Matt Antonio should have finished that chance early in the game. We had a couple of chances in like the first 3 minutes, and then they go and score and make it 1-0. And there's another pattern where we go behind a lot. We go behind by a goal, quite a lot. And there's only a certain amount of times where you can keep doing that and winning and getting away with it. That's why against Wolves, the way we won was by a penalty and a corner, which I'll keep elaborating on. I'll keep emphasising. If you could see a pattern where you're going to go down and then that's your way of winning, by that switching you on, you up in the intensity and then scoring, and that's happened in every game. Eventually, that becomes unsustainable, and you'll see it on the eye. You'll see it via results and stuff. And it's a results-based game, and I'm pretty sure we're close to losing as many games as we won in the table. If not, then we've already equaled that tally. But yeah, this is the thing. Listen, I don't know how I've made this video 17 minutes. I've just got a lot to get off my chest, and usually and a lot of it today hasn't really been about the game. It's just been about the general picture. And it's just painful. But it's a different kind of painful. It's painful because there's expectation, and we're not succeeding the expectation, rather than we're in a relegation. If we're in a relegation battle, it would just be these match reactions would just be more deflating and depressing. But yeah, I don't know what to think. I've given you my thoughts, really. Make sure to like the video. The aftermath will probably be tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe. Try to get to 250 then 500 by the end of the year. And social medias are in the description if you want to follow me, and an email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.